Hello, and welcome to our podcast, where we discuss different topics related to entrepreneurship, innovation, and personal growth. I'm Jane, and I'm here with my co-host John.
Hi everyone, I'm John, and today we have a very interesting topic to talk about: starting a new business. Is it a good idea or a road to ruin?
That's right, John. Starting a new business is a big decision that involves a lot of risks, challenges, and opportunities. Some people might see it as a way to pursue their passion, create value, and achieve financial freedom. Others might see it as a stressful, uncertain, and costly endeavor that could end up in failure and frustration.
So, what are the pros and cons of starting a new business? What are the factors that influence the success or failure of a new venture? And what are some valuable tips for aspiring entrepreneurs who want to start their own business? Stay tuned because we will discuss these questions and more in this episode.
That's right, John. Let's start by defining what we mean by starting a new business. How would you define it?
Well, I would say that starting a new business is the process of creating, launching, and operating a new organization that offers a product or service to a market. It can be a sole proprietorship, a partnership, or a corporation. It can be a for-profit or a non-profit entity. It can be a brick-and-mortar or an online business. It can be a franchise or an independent venture. It can be a small or a large enterprise. It can be a local or a global operation. It can be a new or an existing market. It can be a niche or a mass market. It can be a low or a high-tech industry. It can be a disruptive or an incremental innovation. It can be a bootstrap or a venture-backed startup. It can be a lifestyle or a growth-oriented business. It can be a passion or a necessity-driven entrepreneurship. It can be a lot of things, really.
Wow, that's a lot of possibilities. So, starting a new business can mean different things to different people, depending on their goals, motivations, resources, and contexts.
Exactly. And that's why there is no one-size-fits-all answer to the question of whether starting a new business is a good idea or a road to ruin. It depends on a lot of factors, both internal and external, that can affect the performance and outcome of a new venture.
So, let's talk about some of these factors. What are some of the advantages and disadvantages of starting a new business?
Well, I think the most obvious advantage is that starting a new business gives you the opportunity to be your own boss, to have more control and autonomy over your work, to set your own schedule, to choose your own projects, to express your creativity, to pursue your passion, to solve a problem, to create value, to make a difference, to have a positive impact, to learn new skills, to grow as a person, to build a network, to earn a reputation, to achieve recognition, to generate income, to have more flexibility, to get more fun, and to fulfill your potential.
That sounds amazing. But I'm sure there are also some drawbacks, right?
Of course. Starting a new business also involves a lot of challenges and risks, such as finding a viable idea, validating a market, developing a product or service, acquiring customers, delivering value, generating revenue, managing cash flow, covering costs, making profits, competing with rivals, dealing with uncertainty, coping with change, overcoming obstacles, facing failures, learning from mistakes, adapting to feedback, improving quality, innovating constantly, scaling up. Also hiring and retaining talent, leading and managing a team, building a culture, establishing partnerships, complying with regulations, protecting intellectual property, securing funding, managing stakeholders, balancing work and life, handling stress, and maintaining health and well-being.
That sounds daunting. So, starting a new business is not as easy as it sounds, right?
Definitely not. It requires a lot of courage, resilience, perseverance, and hard work. It also requires a lot of skills, knowledge, and experience. And it also requires a bit of luck, timing, and opportunity.
So, How can someone decide if starting a new business is a good idea or a road to ruin for them? What are some questions they should ask themselves before deciding to start?
Well, I think there are some key questions that can help anyone who is considering starting a new business, such as, why do I want to start a new business? What problem do I want to solve? What value do I want to create? Who are my target customers? What are their needs, wants, and pains? How can I reach them and communicate with them? What is my unique value proposition? How do I differentiate myself from the competition? What is my business model? How will I make money? What are my revenue streams and cost structures? What are my key resources and activities? What are my key partners and channels? What are my key metrics and goals? How will I measure and track my progress and performance? What are the risks and uncertainties involved? What are the opportunities and trends in the market? What are the strengths and weaknesses of my team? What are the skills and knowledge gaps that I have?
Wow, that's a lot of questions. But I guess they are all important and relevant, right?
Indeed, they are.
That makes sense. But I'm sure that even with all these questions, there is still a lot of uncertainty and unpredictability involved in starting a new business, correct?
Of course. Starting a new business is not a linear or deterministic process. It is a dynamic and emergent process that involves a lot of experimentation, iteration, and learning. It is not a science or an art. It is a combination of both. It is not a formula or a recipe. It is an unpredictable trip.
So, what are some tips that you would give to someone who wants to start a new business?
Well, I would say that the most important thing is to have a clear vision and a strong passion for your business. You have to know what you want to achieve and why you want to achieve it. You have to love what you do and do what you love. You have to be driven by a purpose and a mission that is bigger than yourself. You have to be willing to make a difference and to have an impact.
That sounds inspiring. But I'm sure that's not enough, right?
No, it's not. You also have to have a realistic and a flexible mindset for your business. You have to know what you don't know and be open to learn. You have to be humble and curious. You have to be willing to experiment and fail. You have to be adaptable and agile. You have to be able to pivot and iterate. You have to be able to validate and improve.
That sounds challenging. But for some reason I suspect that's not all.
You are correct, Jane, it's not. You also have to have a solid and a scalable strategy for your business. You have to know who your customers are and what they want. You have to know how to reach them and serve them. You have to know how to create value and capture value. You have to know how to differentiate yourself and compete. You have to know how to grow and sustain.
Wow. I just want to give a recognition to all the entrepreneurs working in all these things. That sounds wonderful, but also overwhelming. I'm pretty sure that's not the end.
No, it's not. You have to know how to manage your stress and emotions. You have to know how to prioritize and organize. You have to know how to set boundaries and limits. You have to know how to have fun and relax. You have to know how to enjoy the journey and celebrate the milestones. Also is very important to have a lot of gratitude for your business. You have to know how to enjoy the process and the outcome. You have to know how to appreciate the highs and the lows. You have to know how to celebrate the wins and the losses. You have to know how to be proud and humble. You have to know how to be grateful and generous.
Fantastic, John. Thank you for sharing your insights and wisdom with us. I'm sure our listeners will find them very useful and helpful.
You're very welcome, Jane. It was a pleasure to talk to you and to our listeners. And for our English learners, please feel free to find the 20 selected vocabulary words of this lesson. They are all explained in the description below and also other of our favorite resources to continue improving in the English language.
That's great. We appreciate it, John. And to all our subscribers, please like the video if you want more podcasts like this. Also, please tell us what other topics you would like us to discuss. Have a great time and see you in our next video.
Thank you, everybody.